Populous 3. My name is Steph, and I'm an associate programmer at the American Cinematheque, and I am so thrilled to see a packed house for this momentous occasion. This is the 25-year anniversary of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius.
Yeah!
And we are so lucky because we will be joined on stage by the legendary cast and crew of this cultural phenomenon after the film. So please be, yes!
Yeah!
So please make sure to stick around as the end credits roll. And I do want to remind everyone that the cast and crew will be hanging out outside of the theater after the Q&A, so please do not approach the stage or have anyone sign anything in here. That could be done afterwards. And then I would also like to give a moment to thank our amazing staff, our volunteers, especially our volunteer Harvey Jordan for making me aware of this movie screening. Thank you, Harvey. And then, of course, to our projectionist, Sherilyn. Let's give it up for Sherilyn. Today, this is being screened on 35 millimeters. So and also to any Cinematheque members in the audience, I cannot thank you enough for supporting our mission and keeping the theatrical experience alive. Thank you for your support, as always. But now it is my privilege to introduce someone very special to the stage. He is a real boy genius. He is the remarkably talented director, co-writer, and producer of the film that you're about to watch. Let's give a very warm welcome to John Davis.
Yeah! Hello!
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks you guys for coming. I mean, Jimmy wouldn't be anything without you guys. So I have a question. How many of you saw Jimmy in the theater 25 years ago as a kid? Wow, a bunch of you. Awesome. So you guys turned out okay? Well, Jimmy changed my life dramatically. He was my little avatar. I came up with Jimmy years and years ago because I had daydreams as a child, wish fulfillment. That's the thing that drove me. It's like, oh, you know, it'd be cool if I could have a robot dog, or it'd be cool if I could build a rocket and fly to school, or if I could walk on the ceiling, or if I could be invisible. And it's like, well, how can I do these things? You know, I'd be a genius, but I'm not a genius, so I have to create a character who is a genius. And so that was the origin story of Jimmy. And I loved science growing up. You know, I grew up as a kid in the 60s, early 70s, with all the space launches, all the Apollo missions. And to me, science was magic. And science became Jimmy's magic. It enabled him to do, you know, anything he can imagine. And, you know, that's kind of the thing I loved about the character, is that if you're intelligent enough, if you're smart enough, it's a celebration of intelligence. If you're smart enough, you can save yourself. You can save your parents from giant chicken monsters. So I love smart characters. And Jimmy's way smarter than I could ever be. But we made the film 25 years ago in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah!
And we made the series there too. We're going to come back and forth a lot. The whole voice cast is here. You'll be seeing most of them later today. And just a word about the voice cast. You know, the voices we had in the show were just phenomenally great. And it was one of my most fun parts of the production, was getting these guys in a room together, letting them go off script and find the character and put their thumbprint on it. You'll be able to talk to them and ask questions from them later. But anyway, we made this film 25 years ago. At the time, you know, Jimmy was he celebrated science, but science also brought him to life. At the time, the science was limited to us. We had off-the-shelf 3D tools. We were only the third company, animation company, to release a feature film. Yeah, there was Pixar, of course. There was DreamWorks, PDI, and then there was us. And we were like this little garage band, as Albie Heck used to call us. We were a little garage band in Dallas, Texas. And we had a blast doing it. It was so much fun. We didn't know all the rules. We're kind of making them up as we went. We were using tools that anybody could buy. Just walk down the street and buy the tools and do it yourself. That's what we used. Everything's very different now. So you might see the film now, it may appear a little dated technically, but I think what you'll see is the thrill of creation, the thrill that we had working on it. I always had a mantra that if it's going to be fun to watch, it needs to be fun to work on. And the crew that we had was sensational, and they had a lot of fun, and it was a lot of work. Anyway, I'm not going to talk too long. We've got a Q&A afterwards. But I did want to acknowledge that sadly, we lost Jeff Garcia, who's the voice of Sheen. So sadly, as I said, the entire cast put their thumbprint on each character, and Jeff Garcia definitely put his thumbprint on Sheen. So anyway, I'd like to just personally dedicate this screening to Jeff and his character. And I think that you'll be able to laugh along with him, and he'll keep us laughing for years to come. And so anyway, I appreciate everybody being here. It means a lot to me personally, and I'm so glad I'm be here with you tonight. And enjoy the screening. God bless.
Doesn't that movie hold up so well?
Yeah.
Like on the soundtrack, it's freaking incredible. Anyways, so now I am honored to bring out these amazing, the minds behind the Boy Genius. Our first guest is the director, co-writer, and producer, John Davis.
Woo!
All right.
Woo!
And then our next guest is another producer and co-writer, Steve Oedeker.
Woo!
And then the voice behind Jimmy Neutron, Debbie Derryberry.
Yeah!
Now we gotta give it up for Carl Weezer, Rob Paulson.
Yeah! Woo!
Now, Cindy Vortex, let's give it up for Carolyn Lawrence.
Woo!
And the duck lover, Mr. Hugh Neutron, Martin.
Woo!
And then the voice behind Nick and Brittany, Candy Milo.
Woo!
And last but not least,
I think we have it. We have one.
Okay,
got
all right. Last but not least, Libby, let's give it up for Crystal Scales.
Woo!
Wow, okay.
Shall we?
Thank you. Yes, you
Okay.
shall. All right, so I'm going to start with a few of my own questions, and then we will open up to the audience. So start thinking of some good questions.
Oh.
But first, so I gotta say, everyone up here is a complete legend in their own right. You have all brought immense joy to the lives of millions of people of all ages. It was a complete hit when it came out 25 years ago in 2001, and now all these years later, the fan base just keeps growing. It was also nominated for an Academy Award in the first year that they implemented the Best Animated Feature Film category. Isn't that insane? Now, with all that being said, I would love to hear each of you reflect on how you first felt, or what were your reactions when the movie was released and became this big box office hit, and how those feelings have evolved over time.
I'll go first, I guess. So, to me, it felt like being shot out of a cannon, because we were like a little bitty company in Texas. We had about 15 people, and we had to go from 15 to 150 people in 6 months and build a facility to make the movie. And nobody knew anything about it. You know, we had a press person in Dallas, and she would send out press releases, and nobody believed it was real. Like, we're actually making a movie there. And so nobody paid attention until it came out in the theaters and was nominated for an Oscar. And then they started doing a couple years. But it felt like this little secret that only we knew about. And then when it came out, and then we went to the Macy's parade, and they had the giant Jimmy balloon, and it was mind-blowing. It was crazy because I was trying to approve the print of the film at Paramount, and it took forever because we just kept seeing little mistakes. Finally left on a red-eye flight, went all the way from LA to New York, and the cab dropped me off on a street corner as the parade was starting, and I was cut off from my wife Kim, and it was just crazy. But Jimmy was everywhere. There was a Jimmy balloon. There was a big Jimmy Ferris wheel at Toys R Us. There's toys everywhere. Jimmy opened the stock market. And it felt like suddenly the secret was out.
That's awesome. I was shout out to Keith Alcorn, who's not here, John's partner. Keith designed all the characters, and couldn't be more deep into Jimmy Land. So, really, these guys, they were in a very small little animation company, and we had connected. And it was like the Bad News Bears. It was very early CG, very early CG. We're probably the only CG movie made with off-the-shelf software, too. So everything had to be figured out. The whole team scaling up, getting the pipeline done. So a lot of it at the time was just like, making sure we could get it done and finished and have it be really strong, which is all you're really thinking about, is how good can this thing be? And a lot of times, I'm going to jump to the back end of that, which is, for me, it was great. I love it. I loved the process. I thought we were going to land great. We landed great. You never know what's going to happen with the public, but everybody responded to it, which was totally awesome. But as I've learned over the years, the most fun is seeing something stay relevant 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later. Now I meet these kids, they're like adults now, and they like freak out, about Jimmy Neutron, and they're having kids. So it's really, that's probably my favorite thing, is I just love the fact that everybody's work was so good and strong. Last thing I'm going to say, I'll come back to Garcia. We'll talk about Jeff Garcia after this run.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, John. You guys, first, thank you so much for being here, for being fans all these years. I want to thank Jason McConnell from Paramount for being here, and Harvey Jordan for setting this up. Thank you. Harvey. But, as voice actors, we're kind of invisible. And when I got to play my first boy's voice, I thought, well, that's really cool that John believes in me that I can do a boy, because, I'm no E.G. Daly, I'm no Candy Milo. I can't do that thing they do for a long time. I can do Jimmy. So, thanks for trusting me with that. So, when we did the movie, there's nobody watching you go into the studio. You go in, you do your job, you come out, and then you just never know what's going to happen. And when it came out, I thought, this is a really good movie, but sometimes it's too big to fathom, like looking into space. I don't know, my mind explodes when I look into space. And that's how I felt when Jimmy Neutron came out. I was like, really, this is happening? That was great. But the fact that it has just stayed with so many fans for so many years. We're still going to conventions. Every month we see each other at conventions and see all of you guys. Thanks for loving us. Thank you.
Carl was your first boy voice too, wasn't it?
Do not say it. Do not say it. I'll lose it.
Jesus help me. I don't know what possesses me to say Jesus helps me trip.
By the way, before we get going, just so we're clear, if you get a bad angle looking at Mr. DiCarlo's shirt, it says certified duck. Enjoy. Yeah, just so you know.
Wait to see what's on the bag.
Mark came up with the better coming out of the attic than the basement. That's pretty good. Okay, Jeff freaking Garcia. Yeah. My God. Wow. As Debbie said, and as everyone else said, you can have a script written by Jesus and $30 million of Odekirk's money, and if nobody watches, It's a tax write-off. Truly. And the odds of starting that, what you guys did in DNA, and Paul Marshall was not here either.
Yeah.
John Debney has gone on to the now. How many Oscars has John nominated? The music gentleman. You never know. And honest to God, what a privilege to be able to see 25 years later what we were involved in and the extent to which it connects with so many of you that you just don't know. And
I know, Rob.
well, you, Steve knows, because like I said, I got $30 million of his money, which is stuck to the front seat of the Bentley. Thank you very much. But honest to God, it's a real pleasure, and I wish I could rub every one of your tummies. But I'm learning there's a fine line between funny and felony. A woman whose tummy I would never mind. This is Carolyn Lawrence.
The industry's changing so much.
Oh man.
I know, and this is just my little 2 cents. This movie was amazing because the creativity was allowed to be creative. You guys wrote a great script, and you came from a place of artistry, and you cast a cast based on who you actually thought was good at doing the role, not who was a famous name or who had the most Instagram followers, or although we do have.
Do you think that Sir Patrick Stewart had ever had any more fun?
That's true. That's true.
He was great, by the way. He was great to work with.
Yeah, but that's an example of great casting, you know?
Yeah.
Marty Short.
And Martin Short was phenomenal, great
Great
casting. Oh my God, could she be funnier? She's hilarious. But it's fun looking at this and being like, yeah, we were the first one ever announced for an Academy Award from a little group of people who just had a vision. And I'm excited about that, and I'm still thrilled about that, and I look forward to more of that coming.
Amen.
Yeah.
So,
That's right.
oh, and the other thing is, I had never, ever, ever been like, as an actress, we're behind the scenes, right, in voiceover, and I'll never forget when we were nominated, and you guys set up that fancy dinner.
Yeah.
We went to some fancy dinner, and you guys, I was like, what? I had never been to a restaurant like that.
The fork isn't made of plastic.
I was like, what is happening? Where are we?
And then Harvey turns and he says, Debbie, guess what? Paul McCartney walked in. I said, no, he didn't.
And you
And
didn't.
it was Paul McCartney. He was nominated for the music on Vanilla Sky. And the first I was like,
Just a quick add-on to that. So my partner Keith Alcord, who couldn't be here today, sends his love. But anyway, we were there, and he's a huge Beatles fan. He had his whole office was covered with Beatles memorabilia. So I'm talking to Keith, and Keith's back is against the door. And I'm telling him, yeah, Paul McCartney's going to be here. He's like, no, he's not. He's not going to come back. Yeah, he is. And then I see him walk in. I go, Keith, there he is. And as soon as Keith turns around, Paul stands behind a potted plant. No. And then he stepped out, and Keith just about crapped himself. He was so excited. I said, come on, Keith, I'll introduce you to Paul McCartney. I'd never met Paul McCartney. So I go, hey, Paul, nice to meet you. And I want to introduce you to my partner, Keith. He has dolls of you in his office.
Watch your fingers.
Favorite things with Keith.
Let's talk about the creativity for a second. It's been 25 years since we started before it came out, Music Magically. And I've worked on a lot of things since then. And the Jimmy Neutron experience is unique because of the creativity of the individuals here. First of all, brilliant idea for a movie about kids that lose their parents. Visually, I've forgotten how great it was. All the things flying through space, that's just so clever.
For that time.
Yeah, for any time. Just the ideas in the script were hilarious and really clever. And then you put this cast together. Typically now when you do animation, it's one actor reading with the director. The director knows what he wants or she wants to it sound like, and they beat it out of you until you give it to them, and then they slice it together. That's not how these guys put this together. We were all in the room together, recording like a regular movie or a regular scene, and I heard a lot of stuff there that wasn't on the page, and to their credit, they left it in.
Lots of times, writers or producers, right, exactly. Well, I didn't write it, so I'm not putting it in the movie, but you guys put together a really, God damn it, Jeff was funny. Late, always, but very, very funny.
And
we would just spitball.
I always, well, I came from live action, so I have never differentiated. It's always a story in a movie and how you're making it. And yeah, it was completely foreign to me, the concept of people acting alone.
Yeah, well,
completely
you don't.
foreign. So it was very important, even in the series, just to have everybody together and allow people to talk over each other and like people do in real life. And I think that is what gave extra lines and more fun and a true camaraderie and all that.
Yeah, better performances and just stuff that once you've been recording it for a while, you're in the character and you think in the...
Right.
And why not record it? If it's no good, you throw it away. So hats off to you guys for being the creative captains of this. It was so great to see you guys. Most of us.
Jesus, tell him about a shut. Yo, nerdball. So anyway, that's the voice of my nephew, and he sounded like this, and his name is Nicholas. So he's 107 years old now. But he was like a little squirt then. But we had I had come from the world of Ralph Bakshi. That was the only live action. Those were the only feature length films I did, and so much of what Bakshi did was for female was extra voices, and there was never anything. And the first time that I had done something big was Cool World, and I was Brad Pitt's girlfriend, and I thought, oh my gosh, that was great. And I met him. Nothing went on. I was 9 months pregnant with my daughter. Not interested. But I knew we had something special. Yeah. No, we had Jimmy Neutron was really special when we went to the screening, and Coolio was there. And I miss Jeff Garcia very much. He was a really good friend of mine. Anyway, Coolio was there, and he was following me around. I remember it was hilarious because I would walk, and I'd turn around and he'd go, man, all those little braids, and I would walk and then turn around, and my daughter said, I think Coolio likes you. And I thought, let me find out. I walked up to Coolio and I went, yo, and he was so grossed out, like a boy, that he just kind of turned and walked away. And then he just said, I just wanted to say good job. And I said, could have said that from 20 feet ago, but you're right behind me now. And then he was just like, I gotta go. And I do think that Rob touched on it, Carolyn touched on it, to be unknown and untried and no name, and to be given a chance to do something like this. And then you all know we were taken onto the series, and Nickelodeon Paramount was so amazing. And the scripts were fast and furious, and it was great, and I can't believe it was 25 years ago, because I'm only 11.
Oh my gosh, I actually don't know what to say. Yeah, it's been 25 years ago, and again, I just want to thank God. I want to give tribute to Jeff Garcia, who obviously is not only a big part of this film, but was a tremendous, ecstatic part of our lives. My name is Crystal Scales. I play Libby, in case you don't know.
Yeah!
Together. I just flew out from North Carolina to be with you guys, and I haven't seen these guys probably since. Yeah. It's been about 17 years. Wow. So, and this is my first Q&A, so be kind. To answer the question, how did I know it was going to be really big? I know that when around the holidays, you start getting cards from the owner, the company owner saying, we've made a donation on your behalf. That's how I know something's gonna be really big. And then after that, I remember getting the Nickelodeon clock. I remember the Jimmy Neutron snowball.
Stop saying
You know what? I might have picked it up somewhere. I don't know. But that and the Kids' Choice Awards, I think it was like a jewelry box. And like Candy, around that time, I was having a child as well. But my start, I guess, was from Eddie Murphy, the PJs, Beverly Calvin. So I got to start out with the boy's voice, and then went on to doing some female voices. But it's just my comfort zone, and I guess where it started was when I was a kid. So like all of us, we've got to drive, and we've got passion, and we've got to figure out where we fit in at. And thank God these guys have never not embraced me. And so we're in an industry where, like so many of us in life, are often, like Debbie was saying, or invisible, or Carolyn was saying, not seen. Sometimes that's good. That works for me. You know, as long as our voices are heard. I think that's one of the most important part, is to remember that your voice carries. And it doesn't really matter where you are. Your location can be your motivation, and you put your breath into every situation, and never give up, and always be there for yourself. All right.
Well, since the screening is dedicated to the late, great Jeff Garcia, can we all share a story or a memory that you would like the audience to know about?
Well, working with Jeff, it was funny because we had a hard time finding, casting that role. Originally, the character was designed to be Japanese fanboy. That was kind of my initial inspiration, but we had a hard time finding the right actor. And then finally we said, well, don't limit it to Japanese. It could be any. We need to find somebody funny and good. And I know Steve really pushed for that. And then suddenly Jeff Garcia comes along, and he was just hilarious out of the box, you know, and all of his malapropism and mispronunciation, and it was just hilarious, perfect. It was perfect for him. Yeah. And again, like we were talking earlier, you take those off-script things and you use them like little golden nuggets. And I hadn't seen the film in a long time, and it's just scattered all throughout. You know, coming out of the better than the attic than the basement. That was Mark. Did that? It was the whole llama thing. Touching the llama came from an ad lib that Rob did.
But not a conviction. They did not convict you. Let the record show.
But yeah, Jeff was a huge. When we found Jeff and finally cast it, that was the triumph of those three characters: Jimmy, Carl, and Sheen. That was sort of the anchor of the whole show.
The Rob thing the llama thing is actually a Rob thing, and it's super creepy. Nothing to do with Carl. No, so
Not illegal in every state. Just this one.
So Jeff Garcia, I just went to his funeral he died December 10th. So a few of us were just at Jeff's funeral and met his family, and it was all amazing. And you know, Jeff was a friend. We kept in touch. He's such a funny guy and such an awesome guy. And I'll talk about him in the present tense because he's probably here now, you know. And it just, you know, it's such a talent, and it gone too quick. And you know, I really can't sum it up enough. I'm gonna move the mic down. If there's time, I'll tell a funny story about Jeff. If anybody else has one, go ahead and tell it. I just want to kill the time up. But I love Jeff Garcia. I'll see him again. We'll really miss him. And watching the movie, boy, was that crazy. He is just funny. Jeff's just funny all the time. I'll throw in one thing. The first time I heard his sound, so I'm sitting in the clubhouse at my house in the back, and I'm playing people. We play all the Sheen auditions, and there's, you know, it's not like clicking. So I just can't find anybody. I tell Paul, play all the other auditions. Play all the other auditions. So Jeff had read for the character of Nick. He didn't come in for Sheen. So I'm like almost half listening at this point. I'm talking to Paul. I got the CDs playing, and we're gonna play every single audition that happened on the show. So all of a sudden, Jeff's voice comes on, kind of in the background, and I'm like, wait, hey, hang on. And I started again. This is how fluky it is. That I love stuff like this. It's like God stuff. So I go, wait a second. I back it up, and I hear Jeff doing Nick pretty much like he does Sheen. Right? So I hear Jeff, and I'm like going, I literally said, Paul, is this guy like, is this like a 9-year-old? Like, what am I listening to? And it was literally like an instant thing of this is the guy, this is Sheen. I hadn't met him, didn't know he did stand-up, didn't know anything about him. But boy, it was just what a confirmation seeing the movie now. I love Jeff Garcia, and here you go.
Let me grab this on the card's
Oh,
short.
sorry.
Here,
Oh,
here,
thank you.
hold on. Did,
I got my attention.
I know we invited a couple of Jeff's family. Are you here?
Jojo, are you here?
Raise your hands in the back. We're so glad you guys could come.
Yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for coming, guys.
I remember I'm a real OCD stickler for being at a place on time. Our agent at ICM at the time would pull us aside twice a year, every one of us, and for a meeting, and he'd say, "If you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. Don't make that a reflection on me." And I cried. I always cried. He made me cry. Didn't you just make anyone cry? Yeah. So at Junior Neutron, Jeff was always late, and I pulled him aside one day. I said, "Jeff." I gave him the Jeff speech, my agent, and like, you know, it's a really important job, and we're really lucky to be here, and you should be on time, Jeff. And he said, yeah. He never was on time.
I don't particularly trust people that are on time. I just want to throw that
I'm trustworthy, but I'm like the straight guy. They put us all together, and I mean, Candy and Mark, and you're straight too. You're the funniest. I mean, me and Cindy just read our lines and tried to be like smart, good, and normal. But you guys all just cut up and say funny things all the time. So I think it takes that combination. You probably knew that you need to have the funny with the straight to make things work. If everybody's always flying off the cuff and saying funny things, then it's just, not as funny. Oh, my vocabulary is incredible.
Nothing funny ever happens before noon.
Anyway, certainly I'll love Jeff Garcia. Here you go, Rob.
Yeah, I can't say any more than that. It's a privilege to work with people whom you would choose to be your friends, and 25 years later, you're better friends. And then we have this impossible privilege. Thank you, Harvey. Where's Harvey?
Yeah, Harvey Jordan.
Back here.
Harvey put us together. Thank you, and thank you to Cinema. My goodness, it really is. But Jeff he's funny enough to have been late. The late Jeff Garcia, before he was the late Jeff Garcia. That's how clever Jeff was. And that's not hyperbole, but I love you, Jeffrey, and thank you.
Yeah, there's no way this movie and the series and everything would have ever been what it was without Jeff. But my favorite thing was how he always cracked himself up. So whenever we were in the booth and he would do something that he knew was funny, he would laugh at the end of the line, right?
Yeah.
And so I always thought, all these poor editors, like every time they're done, they have to cut out his laugh. He would snicker at the end of everything, and it was magical.
The last few times I saw Jeff, he had called me up and we decided we were going to do stand-up together. So we met at Flappers in Burbank a couple times. And because I come from an improv background and Jeff is so good with crowd work, we planned absolutely nothing. He tells me the show's at 8. Great. I'm there at 7:30, walking around. No Jeff. Show starts. No Jeff. About 8:15, he comes rolling in the front door, takes off his coat without breaking stride, grabs my hand, we walk on stage, and we're like, all right, what are we gonna do? And we just improvised for 20 minutes, and we did it several times, and it was such a great gift to be able to do that with him, because he was so fast for a Mexican. So he referred to himself as ghetto famous. But, as Steve said, we were just at the funeral the other day, and the church was packed with a bunch of young comedians that he has been mentoring and bringing along. And Jojo, his son, is following in his footsteps. He produced a show Sunday Night in the Hot. And Jojo, you were hilarious. You were really funny. He's very happy. So that was a big thrill just to be able to cut it loose with Jeff, because you never got a blank stare from him. There was always something coming
Something
back.
was always cooking.
So I had written a memoir, and I decided to do a comedy night at the Groundlings, and I invited Jeff because we had 5-6 hour phone calls back and forth, and we remained very close friends because we were like the two brown people in the show. But I remember one day, well, brownish. I remember he came up to me one day and said, "Candy," and I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Can you believe this white bitch told me I needed to be on time?"
My Mexican time, motherfucker. I'm sorry. I'm what I was like. I don't need to be early if I'm funny. Oh my God. Yeah. Sorry, that's so
From day one, I remember walking into the studio and we clicked. I think most minorities do. You left me. But that's cool. From there, we would go outside, like, cigarette breaks and stuff like that, and we prayed. We would always pray. We would always speak into existence what we thought was gonna happen. We were like, "Oh, this about to blow up. Yeah, I'm about to." I don't think he knew at that time, but having his own show was, it was there. It was something that he wanted. It was something that he could see. Yeah, bitch, I'm about to get this. I'm about to have this. I'm about to blow it up. About to. But from there, our lives were beginning, and we were taking some of the same steps at the same time. And he invited me out to his house. One of y'all was about to have a birthday party, and I don't think I saw y'all since. But that was the first time I ever been to like Diamond Bar, Rialto. I ain't never been back. I'm just but when I did go and I saw the house, he was putting a studio in there, in the closet. And it was bad small, but to him it seemed huge. He was like, no, check this out. Then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna record this from home. And then he always could see it. Yeah. And I think I had read this on a page, doesn't say that, but the belief that he has in other people is, we need that. And putting a spark in somebody sometimes is not the most easiest thing to do, but it came with ease with him. And Jeff was one of the reasons that I was going to come back. So to find out that not too long ago, I'm coming back, but I'm not going to see him, was huge. Because, we always, we even just, reconnected a couple of years ago. But when you know somebody like that, you just pick up where you left off. I mean, as long as you keep that relationship real, you ain't got to backtrack. You ain't got to correct nothing. You just pick right up where you left off, and you go from there. And you love people regardless. You know what I mean? And I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't know. One of the last messages, I was like, "Miss you, dude." He was like, "Miss you, TBH." And I didn't do my Larry voice, but bye-bye, kid.
And we should also mention my cartoon wife, Megan Cavanaugh, could not be here. She got snowed in leaving Houston, believe it or not. And all the burps you heard in that film,
Everyone.
came out of Marla Hooch.
Yep, absolutely. We had a first session at one point.
We did. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
It was like a cutthroat audition, and everyone burped, and Megan won.
She could do it on cue without drinking a soda. She could just open her mouth and was like,
She can do the ABCs.
yes.
Yeah.
To say.
The Phoenician alphabet. She wasn't screwing around.
She could sing while she was burping.
How is she still single?
Well, pardon me, Candy, it sounds like Coolio's been spending most of life living in a Neutron paradise or something.
Rest in peace,
See, that's
Julio,
just,
too.
that's just bad. Okay, so for Jeff's family, can I get
Oh, yeah.
everybody to say like a big thanks, Jeff, and then I'll swing around here. Love you, Jeff.
Can you guys bring up the house lights?
So we can
Is that
see everybody.
possible?
Oh, believe it or not, but it's advanced technology.
Okay, you see,
He's got a camera. He's
I invented fire. You're welcome.
There you go. So I'll go like this. Just do a big thanks, Jeff. Or
Oh, here you go.
Jeff, whatever you want to do. Here we go. And
Thanks, Jeff.